Where no hedgehog has gone before, everyone. It's Deep Dive Zone, a Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes. I'm your host, Devin, joined by my co-hosts, Lauren and Bruce, and today we are on part 3 of 4 of Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. And, well, next part is going to be the last one, so today we are finally heading into the Twilight Cage in space.
The final frontier.
Yeah.
The cool exclusive area.
Yeah,
It's
not just ordinary space.
that's true. It is not just ordinary space.
No, it's time prison.
Oh, you could say that too.
It is time prison.
Yeah, I'm not repeating the joke from last time. Anyway, yeah,
No,
so
no,
last time we went through all of Metropolis and Angel Island, and then crashed Angel Island into Metropolis, and then went through that. All for the sake of getting off the planet, and now we're doing that. Technically, we stopped right before we headed out, I believe.
Yeah, so
Yeah, technically, yeah.
The send-off, because we alluded to it last time, but yeah, when you're all ready to take off, then Eggman's like, all right, have fun in time prison, and then they're like, what, you're not coming?
With us.
He's like, nah, someone needs to help you when you come back in. Besides, like, my empire is in ruins. I have nothing. Like, don't worry about it. Worry about it is what they should
worry
be
about
doing,
it very much.
They have bigger problems, I suppose, at the moment.
Yeah. Admittedly,
we can deal with Eggman.
We can deal with Eggman, and his reasoning of, like, look, I don't have much going on here right now, and someone needs to help you come back, does make sense.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, we're gonna be gone for what, a few hours? That'll be fine. He won't be able to get that much done.
Oh, I'm sure it'll only be a few.
I mean, they might have thought that at the time, but I mean, maybe they do literally say that this all takes place in a few hours. I find it hard to believe that what happens next takes place in a few hours, though.
Probably not, unless time flows differently in time prison.
I've been saying this recently. Right. There is a video that I would like to do. I don't know if this would be a deep dive zone or just a solo thing, where I try to calculate the minimum amount of time that could have passed across the canon Sonic games, just based on what levels take place at day and night.
That is a neat idea.
You mean like how much time passes within each game, not just like the timeline in general?
Well, because we don't have a good picture for how much time passes between games.
It's true, we don't really.
You can still speculate. I guess you could do both topics at some point or other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, so we have a spaceship. Does this spaceship have a name?
I think they call it the Cyclone at some point.
Do they? Actually, I think you're right. I never
think well, that's just stealing a name from a different ship.
I'm pretty sure Tails calls it the Cyclone like once.
May as well call it the Blue Typhoon at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we go through space, and there's some floating islands everywhere in space. There's no planets here in the Twilight Cage. There's only floating pieces of planets, I suppose.
Yeah, they call them planetoids.
Yeah.
Which I guess is not technically correct. A planetoid is just a small exo. But
yeah, none of these are spheres.
No, these are all chunks of.
They don't follow normal physics either, so call them what you want.
I mean,
yeah. Well, that's part of what happens here is that we get into the Twilight Cage and we instantly start to crash because of time, space, whatever.
They didn't account for something, I can't remember. Some gobbledygook answer is given.
Oh god, I don't remember.
It's Technobabble. We don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
But we end up having to make an emergency landing on our first alien world here, the Kron Colony.
Yeah.
I like that everyone's like, oh, we made it in, and Shade is like, I've never heard anyone so happy to be in the Twilight Cage.
Yeah. The music here is one of the last tracks that I can actually remember from my initial playthroughs of this game. Because it's Volcano Valley from 3D Blast Saturn.
Yeah, I think it sounds okay. Enough. Maybe a little. I'm not sure. Harsh.
Yeah, it's not particularly distressing. But I only remember one other track after this point in the game. But
oh yeah, I think I know which one.
We talk a little bit about Kron Colony here. We basically understand from Shade's explanation that every other race in the Twilight Cage is enslaved by Ix.
Right.
So we're hoping that we can kind of rally support for an offense against him. Anyway, we immediately get attacked.
Yes. This first Kron fight is infamous. I remember when I first did this battle, it took me like a half an hour because I wasn't prepared. This is not great. They should give you some sort of warning. I mean, we're getting later in the game, so like, okay, they're going to start throwing cheap stuff at you, whatever. Still, yeah, if you don't have insta-kills or armor-piercing moves, you're in for a terrible time.
I
Because
can
yeah,
imagine.
the way the cron enemies work is they have absolutely ludicrous armor. So under a lot of circumstances, you will literally just do 1 damage to them, and they have
Right.
410 health apiece. So you're gonna be here a while. You're gonna need to
Right.
rely on a bunch of lucky hits and whittle them down little by little if you're not prepared. They're not super offensive, at least. That's I guess the one saving grace. But yeah, they're just stone walls, literally.
Yeah, I have to, I'm thinking to myself, like, is the average player gonna have armor piercing at this point? It's like, I'm thinking between gun pawns and shield pawns and even the SWATbot Mark IIs, the game really encourages you to have one of those moves at some point. But
I mean, I think it's easy to just to be leveling them up already, and without realizing they're armor piercing. Because does the game mention that they're armor piercing at all? I really haven't read any
yes,
descriptions of anything. Okay,
Yeah, it says it in the
I
description.
think
There's
as long as
actually
you, as long as you read the description, then seeing armor piercing should give you an idea that this is important.
Well, this game actually has like a whole sort of in-game manual section that
Mm,
explains like what all the status effects and terms mean if you bother to go read it. Now, as a kid, I didn't, but
oh, I see.
still, it is there. The problem, the cherry on top that makes this the worst is that you're ambushed here as soon as you land,
Fair.
um,
yeah, so you
and
don't even
and
know if
you're
you're taking your armor piercing character.
Yeah, that's
exactly,
fair.
and you're stuck in the fight, so you can't just run away and like, oh, I don't have the right party for this. I better swap party. Nope.
Mm.
So if you didn't like save the game recently, again, me, dumb kid, didn't save the game very often. Then you're just like, well, I just have to painfully, slowly get my way through here, so I don't have to redo whatever I was just doing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, so we do that. We explore a bit. I don't have like super detailed notes for this because I don't super remember everything I did in all orders. I do know at least the next piece of dialogue that I got.
Yeah, there's a forced bit of dialogue. If you walk back into the ship after this, you can find Rouge. You can find her later too, but
Oh yeah.
she has a little side quest available for you where she's like, ah, yes, well, you see, Gunn is very interested in Nocturna's technology. They would like to have some of the technology to protect the world, of course.
Of
So
course.
you
Yeah.
can agree to like help the development of weaponry.
Mm.
Yeah, because Gunn are really trustworthy in that regard.
Yeah, definitely.
But so we do get a little bit of dialogue with actual Kron guys.
Yeah,
Um, they all talk like Yoda for one thing.
Mm.
Um,
I'm sure what's up with that, but
and they notice that we're
Sci-fi.
furries, so they think that means we're Nocturnus, so that's why they've been attacking us. So hey, that means we're already ahead of schedule because they're attacking what they think are Nocturnus.
that's true.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that initially confuses the party 'cause you're like, what? But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Ix has been pushing everyone super hard, and they explain also that they now that they have a Chaos Emerald, they've started firing up a weapons factory and going full force and pushing everyone harder now because I guess they're probably gearing up to invade the world, I imagine. So that's the reason the Kron were pushed over the edge. Also, little thing, you mentioned that, yeah, because everyone's furries, that they think they're Nocturnus, which implies that no one else in the Twilight Cage other than Nocturnus are furry creatures. So, yeah, we're going to get weird creatures from here on.
I like
Oh
some good
yeah, yeah.
aliens.
And I suppose Shade is Nocturnus. She just isn't loyal to them right now.
That's
Right.
true, actually, yeah.
Well, that'd be funny if you take as like outlandish characters as possible in your party, like maybe they'd react differently. Like you take exclusively like Omega and Big or something. I don't know. I guess Big is still fuzzy, but he looks different.
If we could have had Eggman, that would have been perfect.
That would have been
Yeah.
hilarious.
But we're supposed to go to talk to Foreman Crag to get information, decide how we'll help the Kron and whether they'll help us back. But there's
Mhm.
also a side quest here with an old man echidna NPC named Nestor, who looks very similar to Ix, except he's orange instead of white.
Yeah, well, he's a minor NPC, so yeah, he's literally he has some different expressions, but he's just a recolor. He otherwise uses the same design.
I
Yeah,
completely missed this.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
he's an optional character. Um, basically,
Huh.
he just recognized apparently much faster than Shade, even though she knew that everyone was enslaved, that Ix
Ah.
was bad news and a tyrant, and so he just left Nocturne. and came here. But he is kind of sad and lonely, and so he's like, hey, can you guys like bring me bits of Nocturne to make me feel a little more at home here, and I will reward you with lore. So he is the lore master here. He is gonna deliver some
Yeah,
information over time.
he dispenses exposition in return for artifacts about the event that trapped the Nocturnus in the first place, which is called the Argus event. And, well, to be frank, even though he dispenses exposition about it, we still don't really know that much about what happened. This was meant to tie into that sequel that didn't happen, but we do
Yeah.
have an art piece that seems to depict a Cthulhu-like Lovecraftian horror, tentacles coming out of the portal and picking up the Nocturne.
I
Oh
think that's
my.
actually shown in a cutscene at the very end of the game, so we're jumping ahead. But yes, that's true. You're right.
Oh, okay. I only saw it on the wiki. And
Ah.
also, let's just note that it's called the Nocturne. Their base, their entire society exists around one big temple, I guess.
Oh,
Well, I don't know. I think it was their stronghold initially, and so
that
it
makes
got ripped
sense.
out.
I guess it's
Of
just that up to this
Mobius.
point I had been thinking of Nocturne as like a name for like a planet almost, and so seeing that it's actually just a big fortress in space and it's called it's I don't know. Anyway, that doesn't matter.
Okay.
Let's go up and talk to Foreman Crag here.
I'm slightly annoyed that this game put blue boxes in the middle of your path, which means you have to have specifically Amy in the party here. That's
Yep.
bad game design. I must say. They should have put red boxes because then you'd have a number of different characters who could smash through it. The overworld moves are usually not terrible, but this is poorly executed. Don't like that.
Yeah,
Well, specifically
no,
because Amy doesn't have any solo armor-piercing attacks, and you want as
True.
many of those as possible.
Yeah, she's not a good choice for this area even.
Yeah, Knuckles would have been fine, although I think I'm keeping, at this point, Shadow and Omega with me.
Solid choices, yeah.
If I could switch Sonic out, that would also help.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, he's the main character.
Yeah, it's Sonic game. You're not gonna be able to swap him.
Okay,
he's
well, what
usually
would
the one
also help
talking.
is me being able to plan my character's moves with the assumption that they will get restored special points from Cream, because I do that so often, but it doesn't let you do that.
I don't know. Get good. Anyway, we go to I have no response to that. I feel like we've been over that before. Foreman Crag is here. Also, there's a shop in the base, which it's the first shop in like forever. And also we're clearly in late game because they're selling like ridiculously overpowered healing items here, including a refresher wave. My actual response, you can just buy refresher waves and they can replace Cream literally, just restore 50 power points to the
No,
entire
I
party.
understand that. My problem is that I can't plan out a special move knowing that it'll be executed after they get restored.
Oh, I mean that's a common thing in
that's a pretty.
I
Common
know,
thing
and I
for
don't
RPG
like it.
thing.
yeah. Well, it's
because the
just
game
the
hasn't done
reason
its math.
it's the reason that you would invest in gear that like reduces the cost of power points.
Sure.
Or
Well, I also do
Chow
that.
increases your maximum power points. Although you're rocking all Feroxes, of course, so you don't have that option. But it's to make those items more useful because otherwise you can just spam PowerPoint restoration. But it requires you to invest a little more if you really want to go all out. I think it makes sense as a game design choice, personally. I know you're not super into the combat in this game. I guess we'll talk more about the plot then instead. I don't know. There's not a whole lot here though. Actually, Crag is just like, oh, you're gonna help us retake the factory. Sounds good. I think basically.
More or less.
Yeah, it's very transactional. Just liberate our factory. We'll give you the emerald, and then we'll help if you fight Ix.
It is actually funny though, because you can play Sonic two different ways here. You can either be like, "Oh, I'll help free you from the Nocturnes," or you can just be like, "Will you give me the Chaos Emerald?" You can just go straight to the point.
Yeah. And I think in the upper area of Kron Colony, there's a lot of actual Nocturnus to fight, not just Kron.
Yes.
Yeah, as you get closer to the factory,
Yeah.
I guess they're guarding it in a lane, which makes sense.
Yeah. Let's see. We have a really easy puzzle to get Sonic on a conveyor belt. It's just trial and error, I think.
Yeah, I mean, easy, yes, but in my opinion, stupid. Like, why would you design a puzzle that way? As a
The
kid,
puzzle is kind of dumb.
As a kid, I just thought I didn't understand it. But now looking it up, that's literally it. There's no actual logic to it. That's pretty stupid. It doesn't take very long, but I do not understand the point.
That's the interesting thing. I looked at multiple guides, They all said to do it the same way, which just didn't work. So I ended up having to brute force it.
Well, and it's fine because it doesn't even take that long. I think
No,
I'm
it
trying
took
to,
me like maybe 2 minutes to brute force it.
Yeah, it's not
yeah.
that bad.
I'm trying to, like, is there any time when trial and error brute force like that is good game design?
Not really.
The closest
Um,
thing,
I mean, in most situations, you can contrive some way that it's justified. If there aren't too many combinations, I can see it as an interesting way to like skip a part of the game if you feel like it. Uh,
yeah. Well, and
but
I'm thinking,
usually not.
the closest thing I can think of is like I just recently played Silent Hill 2, and there's one puzzle in that game that the only way through is to brute force it, but it's a combination, it's just a keypad with three digits, and you can see that they're like rusted on the thing, so you know which ones to press. So you just have to figure out the right combination, but it's doing it while you're slowly draining health, so it's to make you panic and not know what to do, but still be able to get through if you brute force it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's a good example.
Um, anyway, that has nothing to do with Sonic the Hedgehog. We make our way toward the factory, fighting Nocturnus along the way, and also we encounter Emerald?
Yeah, Jizoid.
Kind of looks like it. But
Yes.
did Emerald have like a what is this? It's like a little cutting weapon. This is an actual weapon, isn't it? I don't know what
I
it's
thought it was
called
like an
though.
energy
Yeah.
blade.
Maybe, but it's like a small half blade like you'd see
Mm.
on a saw or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, this game makes the decision to consider the Nocturnus as the fourth great civilization and also the creator of the Gizoids plural.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so they are enemies in this game, and they look very
Very
similar to
interesting.
Emerald. They have fins
Yeah.
on their head, and they don't really have the long horn as much. But
Well, was Emerald ever called special like explicitly, or was he simply just the last Gizoid that they could find?
I think it
Or
was
he
more
was
just
well,
like
he
the
was
last
not the
one.
last Gizoid. He was
well, I
just
shouldn't
the
say.
Gizoid. There was
He
never
was
an
the only
implication there was
Gizoid
more
that
than
had been
one.
found. That's yeah.
I'm
Good
not. I'm
point.
not. I'm not saying it's impossible there could have been more, but as far as Sonic Battle said, all Sonic Battle said was that the Gizoid destroyed the fourth civilization,
Hmm.
and that's basically it. And so it
Oh,
does
That
make
that comment's actually very interesting about what could have been the fate of the Nocturnus, how they ended up in the zone then.
well. This is the weird thing: is that okay, Nocturnus aren't destroyed; they are gone. So it's fair enough to say that the
Yeah.
history books would say they were destroyed.
Yeah.
The Gizoids don't feel like they had much to do with it. There's some dialogue later that talks about it, but it's still weird.
Well, no, especially because they're still using Gizoids.
Yeah.
Well, so I figured that yeah, I don't remember exactly. I haven't reviewed all of Nestor's lore yet. I usually when I play through the game, I just collect all the little tablets and give them to him all at the very end. So I
Mm.
can't remember exactly what it says. I haven't done that again yet. Um, I think that well, it's so like the capital Nocturne was taken into the Twilight Cage. So
Mm.
I can see it being a double situation where the Argus took away the bulk of the Nocturnus, and then perhaps a rogue Gizoid took out what was left because they were like
Oh
conquering
yeah,
the world. So it's unlikely they were all at the Citadel, even if maybe a bulk of their forces were.
I could see that.
I guess if I were to write it, what I'm thinking, at least right now off the top of my head, would be that whatever the entity was that took them into the Twilight Cage did it because they stole some kind of power from it, and that was what they used to make the Gizoids.
Interesting. Yeah.
So that way the influence of the Gizoid is still what destroyed them, even if it didn't specifically kill everyone on its own.
Yeah. Either way, I'm just
Um,
happy to get some expansion on Gizoid lore at all
That's
because
cool.
we don't get a lot of that.
yeah.
And Sonic Battle tried hard with the story, and then they just did nothing with it. It felt like.
None of
And
these ones use Chaos Emeralds, though.
and for good reason. I mean, that would be really bad if they did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, see,
Sorry, you go.
well, I'm just thinking that we're going to be getting the Chaos Emeralds from a lot of things, and you noted here that the Nocturnus barely seem to give a shit about the Emeralds. I feel like making more Gizoid boss fights on the different colonies with Emeralds would probably have been a good idea.
So the Gizoids don't use them directly, but there are some Gizoids later that are actually guarding. So I
Okay,
guess that's
well,
something.
Yeah.
You almost get that. Anyhow, it's cool to see them in gameplay though, and they're true to to how they work here because the Gizoids have POW moves that are copied from your playable characters. So
Yes, indeed.
actually, if there are certain power moves you don't use, and that might be a little more troublesome, but more than likely you're actually practiced at least some of these, which is neat. So that it actually feels like you're using the same moves. So they use the exact same patterns. They do have one move that's copied from another enemy though that you won't see coming. But yeah, I don't know. They're just cool little enemies.
So the process of liberating the factory itself really is not that complex, right? Don't you just like press a button or something?
Yeah, and then the factory's liberated like off screen.
Basically.
Yeah, well, so yeah, you find a button that deactivates the force field, and then the game gives you a candy bar. RPG logic at its finest. Um,
Mm,
I did that. And then the cron just come in and like, oh, we'll finish the job from here, and then you can go get the Chaos Emerald.
On the way back though, you get a little Rise of Skywalker moment because they fly now.
Oh, that's what you were getting at. I was like, what is he doing? Oh my gosh, yeah, the Nocturnus Equites, another Roman term.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, uh, technologically developed wings. That's awesome. I like that way more than jetpacks. It looks way cooler.
I just ran away from them. I didn't really feel like fighting them.
I mean, that's fine. They're optional enemies. You're more than welcome to do that.
Is this the only place you see those? Are they in any other area?
No, they do show up again. I know at least one other. Well,
I feel like I didn't kill one for the entire playthrough. I may have run away from them every single time.
there
I
aren't
don't even
any
know if they're that
required
strong.
encounters.
Ah,
Oh, okay.
They're not that annoying. They have that evasion move again, which is annoying, and I think they're the first enemies that have counter leech. So again, do not use basic attacks because if you miss, you'll take big damage and heal the enemy at the same time. Otherwise, they're really nothing too crazy.
yeah.
All right. So, the Kron are our friends, which means that we can head to the next area, I believe.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
The party sort of talks about like, okay, so what should our next move be? And there's this funny little exchange. The idea comes out to be like, well, why don't we just go straight to Nocturne? And then Shay is like, probably a bad idea. We should probably collect the other Chaos Emeralds that are scattered about first, and then maybe we'll be more ready. But you could be a jerk and be like, you still admire Ix, don't you? And she's just like, no, I'm just a realist. I don't want to get myself killed.
Fair, honestly.
Although it's funny because I can totally see if no one was stopping him that Sonic might just rush right in because he's normally actually terrible at judging when he's outmatched like that, and then he just pulls through anyway because he's the main character. But
yeah.
not this time, I suppose. Also, the Twilight Cage is divided into two halves. They call Sector Scylla and Sector Cherub, which are named after Greek monsters. So they just like taking from all
Scylla
sorts
and
of mythology.
Charybdis.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't imagine that connection.
Yeah, no, there later in the game, it will be all about confirmed because there's a reason that it's named these, and it does link to the actual monster.
Interesting. Okay.
Scylla and Charybdis, they were sirens?
No, they were sea monsters.
Okay.
They were sea monsters that I don't remember the exact context of them.
I don't know.
All I know is I think one of them breathes fire, and the other thing.
I believe one of them breathes fire. One of them is like always in a hurricane.
Okay. Also, those are Greek myth figures, even though we've been going with Roman stuff up to this point.
You got to remember,
there's a lot of overlap there. I know.
Rome took much of Greek mythology and ran with it. In fact, a lot of the versions of Greek mythology we know now are actually the Roman.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway.
Yeah, this is actually not the only direct Greek reference either. Nestor is named after Nestor the Wise of the Trojan War, too.
Oh, yeah. I think I read that when looking him up yesterday and then just forgot. Because I wanted to check and make sure that his sprite wasn't literally identical to Ix. It's just very similar.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are heading west of the Nocturne in Sector Scylla, and we are landing on the Nurgal colony. N'2RsGAL, Nurgal.
As a 40K fan, I have to call it Nurgle.
Well, that's certainly easier to pronounce. But so we get locked in here because our ship gets all its energy stolen by these slug slimes.
Yeah, almost every colony you immediately get trapped, which I mean, it kind of makes sense. They're all super hostile.
Yeah.
Um, this is a fun little bit here, though. As soon as you step outside, I always have to give credit when they do something funny with the dialogue choices in this. So you come out, and then a bunch of the Nergal come and just start chomping away at the spaceship.
Yeah,
And then
they make
everyone's
you
like,
think. Everyone thinks that like they're gonna be eating it. Or...
kind of looks like it. But then Shade is like, oh, don't worry. They just like drain energy. If you leave them alone, it'll be fine. So you have kind of three options, actually. You can just be like, no, we're going to fight them, which is kind of the wrong choice because then they'll fuse together into giant Nergal for a tougher encounter. Or you can just be like, nah, just leave them alone and completely bypass the fight. But Shade does mention, oh, they're mostly harmless. Just don't touch them because they'll see that as an act of aggression. So the secret third option is to say, no, let's leave them alone, and then immediately touch them, and then you enter a battle with them,
God.
but they're still small, so you actually catch them unawares.
That's funny.
That is funny.
You do end up having to fight some amount of them anyway, but
No, actually, all Nergal encounters in this game are optional, because you can run from the other ones.
wow. Okay, well, run. Yeah, okay. You'll still enter an encounter though.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. There's no way you can run away from all of them. Some of them are in the way.
All right. I don't remember what I chose. I guess I didn't think that I chose to fight them, but I'm pretty sure that Big
I don't think I did
Nergal were
either.
the first ones that I did fight, so maybe I did.
Maybe I did.
Depending
then
on the path you take, there is one in the way of one direction. There's really two routes you can take to the queen, and you do have to fight a giant one if you go one way. So most likely you just happen to run into one in the field. There are two of them wandering around, I believe.
Yeah, but they are amorphous blobs that can combine and form larger blobs. Do they have individual brains? I'm not sure.
Well, I'm not sure. The Nergal are kind of weird. They're not hive minds because that's the shtick of a different creature in the Twilight Cage.
Yeah.
But I imagine it's like fusion in some other works of fiction where when they fuse together, their mind kind of becomes one, but then they become individuals and they split apart. That's the way I
that
think it
makes
works
sense.
anyway.
That makes sense.
It's just a cheap tactic to make weak slugs stronger.
Yeah, kind of. Because in battle, the Nergal, the small ones are pretty easy. They don't have very much health, a little over 100, I believe. So if you have a good power move, you can usually get them in one attack. The big ones, though, have 350, which is a fair chunk. They do have really low armor, though, so you don't even need to use armor-piercing moves in order to do better damage to them.
It's like they're vulnerable, but they are also damage sponges. But also, they often leech damage with their attacks anyway. So it's like, still can take a bit.
Well, yeah. The way the Nergal enemies work is they don't just leech like the Nocturnus do, where they restore a little health. If one of them gets a physical direct attack on you, then they will just restore all their HP.
Yeah.
That's the kicker. So yeah, you really have to go all out to take the ones with a lot of health, or yeah, they can just get it back unless you get lucky and they use a few times or they miss. But yeah, that's how they work. It's not too terrible to get around. I think that's a little more fair than the Chron, especially since it doesn't really require you to have a certain team comp to work around it.
Right, you can fight them with just about anything.
Yeah, instead the environment does that.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true.
First off, we do actually talk to a Nergal here because one of them runs up to us and is like, "You're spies for the Zoa," and we're like, "What the fuck's a Zoa?" But that's the other race in Sector So we're gonna explain ourselves. We're gonna meet with the Nergal Queen, but we got to go up there. And that means you have to use Big's invulnerability to cross these energy barriers because there's lasers all over the place.
Yeah, most likely you will use Big. This isn't as much of a sin, though, as in Chron Colony, because Omega also has invulnerability, but only up to level 2. The green energy beams require level 3, but the yellow ones only require level 2. So you actually can get to the queen if you bring Omega instead. So it's not a complete restriction. Yeah.
Interesting. I was already using Big in my team comp, so that was fine for me.
He's a good party member to have.
Yeah, exactly. And totally fine to have here because his battering ram can shred through these boys.
Also,
Yeah,
I
let's
feel
see.
like walking through a deadly laser is a little different from being able to survive poison gas, but whatever.
I don't know how the invulnerability skill works. I mean, it doesn't make logical sense either because like how did the rest of the parties come through? Well, maybe he like stands in the way of the laser and then like blocks it off and like holds it
I'm a
away
human
from
shield.
everyone. Actually, that's my new headcanon. I don't know how it works with the
What?
gas, but with the
Well,
lasers,
no,
that's
the
definitely how it
gas
works.
is that he just picks everybody up and holds them over the top of his head.
Yes, and he holds his breath while he walks through it also.
Okay, perfect. We got both then. It's great. I love that Big is playable. Wonderful.
I love it so much.
All right. There is one optional quest on the Nergal colony here. If you talk to a big one that's just chilling out, they'll be like, "Oh no, the spawning pools have been contaminated." And you're like, "Oh, okay, but let's check it out." And so you can go in, you can find some Nergal that are like black, and you're like, "Huh, that's kind of weird." So then you can go into a cave and you can find a SWAT bot of all things is in there. So its oil is leaking out and contaminating everything.
The fuck did that get there?
Good question.
The party are just like, I guess it got sucked into the wormhole somehow, which is honestly very convenient because like we had to build a whole spaceship and this SWAT bot just got a free ride. I guess it's a robot, so maybe it can survive, but like we wouldn't be able to. I suppose it makes enough sense. But yeah, it's really random. And it's not even like a buffed SWAT bot, it's just a regular SWAT bot. So you can destroy it really easily. It's a trivial fight.
One hit, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But I will give some credit because even though it wasn't Eggman's own doing, we get like some example of Eggman creations polluting the environment, which, yep, that's on brand.
Yeah.
Well, and this is the Archie Sonic game, so that makes sense.
Oh, true. Yeah.
So, we do go up and talk to the Nergal Queen, and basically, Nergal hate the Zoa, the other race in Sector Scylla here, but both sides have Chaos Emeralds, meaning it's essentially a Cold War of nuclear deterrence going on, because they could both theoretically destroy each other with that power.
Yeah, technically, the party doesn't realize it's a Chaos Emerald until they go into the ship again and detect it on the Zoa colony, but you can pretty easily assume that's what's going on.
Sure,
Yeah, they kept calling it the secret weapon, and I was like, that's a Chaos Emerald.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to predict. But yeah, the Nergal, actually, if you choose like optional dialogue with the Queen and are like, oh, did you know that like Ix gave the Kron a Chaos Emerald too? And he's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Of course he'd give all of his allies Chaos Emeralds. Like you can pick certain things and like the Nergal is like, yeah, no, Ix is great. I think he's really cool because he gives us a Chaos Emerald. So so I think you could probably see what's going on and how you're gonna turn them against Ix. Yeah, so it's off to Zoa Colony next.
Yeah, we really don't spend that much time here in overall, but I don't have a problem with that, because it's the slime slug birthing pits, or whatever that was you were talking about.
Yeah, it's a really short area for some reason. There isn't even a required fight here, strangely, like I said.
Unlike the Zoa Colony, which is, it's Combat City in a lot of ways.
Oh, well, I mean, it makes sense. They're the most warlike, other than, I guess, the Nocturnus, of the aliens here.
Yeah. We get pulled in by tractor beam as soon as we get close.
Yep, they're ready for us.
Yeah, well, it's funny, actually. We get pulled in, and then they come up, and they know who we are, too.
Yeah, I don't think we mentioned it earlier, but yeah, Ix has put out, like, a warrant for the capture of Sonic the Hedgehog, so, yeah. It makes sense. I mean, a random spaceship flying around, that's probably them. Zoa Colony
you don't get much visitors in the Twilight Cage.
That's certainly. Zoa Colony has an original music track, actually. This is my favorite of the original overworld tracks in the game. I can't really put into words, but it's just a nice little funky bop. It's pleasant to listen to. I think it's well put together. I think it's not incredible, but it sounds good in my opinion.
I would take your word for it.
The Zoa, though, themselves, I love these guys. They look awesome. They're my favorite of the alien species. They're big old metallic looking guys with blue crystal internals and energy weapons. They just look awesome.
Yeah, and I would say they have some of the most personality, which is to say they're all assholes.
True. Yeah. I'm gonna point out some amusing dialogue from them later. That's for sure. But yeah. Unlike in the Kron Colony, you don't get immediately ambushed. So if you save the game, you can rework your party. Although in battle, the Zoa are kind of similar to the Kron in that they're really just all rounders actually. They have good armor, but they also have pretty good offense as well and a decent chunk of health. The gimmick that they have though is their lightning shields, which they can actually stack as well, so you can get like tons of lightning spinning around them. I don't know if you ever saw that when they use a lightning shield when they already have a lightning shield and they have two lightning shields at the same time, and then
I
you're
don't
just
think
not
I
going to do
have.
any damage to them
Hmm.
unless you can use armor piercing. Yeah, this game is weird
Okay.
because you can stack multiple instances of status effects sometimes. I don't know if it's intentional or not. It almost seems like a bug, but it could just be a game design choice. It always looks silly
Oh.
though.
Yeah. I think they're technically not as hardy from basic attacks. I think that you won't be doing 1 damage as often with Kron, but they have even more health, so you really want piercing damage anyway.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's basically the same counter for them. No, they're not as bad unless they have light.
Yeah.
So yeah, basic encounter with 2 of them at the start. Nothing too special. Beat them up, win, and then you get to actually explore the city.
Yeah, I ended up doing. Is there more than 1 side quest or just the one?
There's one side quest, but I have a number of comments when it comes to optional content. We can talk about whatever you did first, though.
Well, the side quest that I did, I don't know what optional content you're talking. The side quest is weird because you hear a little bit about this mythical beast that's really dangerous, and there's this guy selling talismans to protect from it, and you end up going to find it, and it turns out to be a regular ass Dragodon lizard from Blue Ridge Zone, and so it's like, how did that get here? And then you find out, okay, it's actually a hologram. Why is it a hologram? Oh, well, you see, this guy selling charms to protect against it is a scammer, and he set it up. Okay, why does a Zoa scammer know what a Blue Ridge Dragodon lizard looks like?
Good question.
Beats the fuck out of me.
Okay, it's pretty clear to me that they didn't want to design a new enemy, and so they just
Yeah.
reused an enemy. This game, we've already talked about it. There's some evidence of troubled development here and there. Honestly, that's not really
Yeah.
troubled development though. Like I could see that in like more polished games where they just reuse an enemy design like
Sure.
that. So that's honestly, yeah, I don't think it's meant to be a Dragodon exactly. They just reuse.
They used the model again.
Yeah. Well, they didn't actually change the name, I don't think, which maybe they should have done that. They should have at least
You,
called it like
you
Night
change
Stalker
the
or
name and you
something.
give it a different texture, and it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, that's true. That probably
Yeah.
would have been better. But yeah, this side quest is funny because the way you experienced it is the way most people experience it, and the way I did until I played this game like a million times in order to explore different permutations of conversations. So yeah, you can just go to this guy and then talk to him, find the Night Stalker, bust his thing, and complete the quest. But there are like a number of different parts to this for some reason. Like you can like talk to the NPCs around town, and also these NPCs are funny because most characters in the game have like 1 line of dialogue, and that's it. But the citizens here actually have like different pieces of dialogue, and you can just keep talking to them. They'll start with things like they'll talk about like the Night Stalker, and they'll talk about Space Pirates side quest that we're gonna do later. Maybe you don't have to; it's optional. But then they'll just say like random things like when will this day be over, or I wonder if it's like this everywhere, or they're watching. But eventually they'll get annoyed and they'll just be like, no, I have work to do, I can't be seen talking to you, are the guards looking this way? And then they'll just start sighing over and over if you exhaust their dialogue. It's really funny.
Wild.
Seems like life in the Zoa colony isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Oh yeah. My favorite optional bit of dialogue, it's not even necessary, it doesn't even give you an item, it's completely just flavor, is if you're in the middle of the Night Stalker quest, you can go to this one random house, and then you find this NPC named Telra, who is like the anti help me NPC, because you talk to them and they're like, oh, you know, people are talking about how my sons got kidnapped by the Night Stalker. Leave me alone. And then you're like, oh well, maybe we could help you. And they're like, no, it's fine. And if you push them, they're like, you're a wanted criminal. You know, I could call the guards. Fine, I'll tell you. I made up that story that my sons were actually arrested for vandalism. I just wanted to gather some pity from my neighbors. You understand? And you're like, well, we can still help like free your sons. Like, no, I don't want them. They're no good. They're a bunch of hooligans. I hate them. Go away. And you literally can't do anything for them. It's great.
Telra made up his backstory so people would feel bad for him.
Yeah, basically.
That's amazing. I wish I had seen that. That's hilarious.
Damn,
It's
yeah.
great.
I'm glad one of us is going out of our way to actually go talk to people, because I've just been beelining through areas.
I don't blame
Oh,
you.
the best part in this city we haven't even gotten to yet, but I have to talk about that a little later. I don't. Let's see. There's one other little detail where in a chest you can find like a Volksei teleporter for some reason, and the shop like sells a Kron hammer, which seems out of place. But if you realize that these people like are super warlike, they probably just stole those.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I forgot. There actually is one other thing that's really amusing. When you're talking to some of the NPCs, they can be like, "Oh, hey, I saw you earlier, Sonic," and you're like, "What? No, I wasn't here already." And you're like, "Oh yeah, you were dashing on really fast. It's super quick. I barely got a glimpse. It was like a
Oh, yeah.
shadow." And you're like, "A
I saw
shadow,
that,
huh?"
yeah.
So yeah, you can go back to the ship, and then Shadow is there to talk to it. You can be like, "Huh, you've been busy, haven't you?" Shadow's like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Yeah, you've been doing things." And he's like, "Yeah, of course, fine. I do things." He's like, "I'm just gonna sit around here and wait." No, I have my own business to attend to, which is so in character. So yeah, if you don't bring Shadow along, they'll just do their own thing.
Yeah, which leads me to a question. What is he doing? What could he possibly be doing?
That's a good question.
Honestly, have no idea, but he's Shadow. He follows his own path.
Hey, let me tell you about the good word of Black Doom.
Oh god.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't think that's what he's doing.
You guys
I
are
doubt
alien
he's
conquerors, right? Well, I got the
proselytizing.
best one.
Yeah, my dad's the
Gosh.
best one.
So, moving along. We gotta head for the Capitol building here. Because the Zoa, they're one of these strong warrior race types who do everything through combat. So, in order to get any progress, because, our goal is primarily to get the Chaos Emerald. If we can get their help, that's also good. But we need to make a case to General Raxos, but we can't even do that until we quote unquote apply for citizenship. Which basically amounts to fighting tons of dudes.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. So, Devin, tell me, did you do the puzzle in front of the door or not?
Maybe? I don't remember. If you remind me what it was, that might refresh my memory.
Okay, so there was a puzzle where there were certain numbers. There's three
Oh,
numbers, and you have to cycle through and pick a number.
I think that's another one I brute force because I couldn't figure it out.
Okay, so Bruce, you did the puzzle, but Devin,
Yeah.
did you don't remember doing that because you don't actually have to do it.
Oh, of course
It's
not.
not ringing a bell so far.
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, so I was about to talk about how there's actually two completely different ways you can do this section of the game, which
Oh.
is really shocking because normally this game is pretty linear with a little variation, but there's like two actual routes here. So yeah, Devin took one and Bruce took the other. I just did both and reloaded to review what they were like because they put an unusual amount of effort here, like I said. So yeah, there's actually two different ways to do this. As you said, Devin, you can apply for citizenship. That's the non-standard secret way, technically, but you can do that. The standard way is what Bruce did, where you go to the main entrance of like the Citadel or whatever, and then there's a guard, and you beat him up, steal his key card, but it still needs a code. And so yeah, then you have to do a code puzzle here. And this one's really hard. You can just brute force it, as you said, Bruce.
Yeah, I still don't know how I pulled it off.
I have no idea how anyone is supposed to figure out how this actually works. I'd look it up. I never would have figured it out on my own. But at one time I did.
That was another case of I looked it up, or I looked at the guide I've been following. It explained one thing. I did that, and it didn't work.
The guide was probably wrong because it's a
I
little
assume so.
confusing. The way it works is there's three numbers and then you have to pick a fourth number that somehow follows from that.
Okay.
The way it is there is an unknown mathematical operation that is applied to the to the first number by the second number, and then the result is applied again with an unknown operation to the third number. So for example, if it's 1, 2, 3, it might be like 1 + 2 - 3, and then the result would be 0. But it doesn't tell you which operation is which. You have to look at the way the numbers are before you push the button, and then you have to reason out like, okay, how did you get the fourth number from those three numbers? And then you press the button and you use the same operation to then get your mystery number. It's
Oh.
really complicated. I don't understand how you're supposed to figure that out.
Yeah, no, that makes, even with you explaining it, it makes no fucking.
Sonic Schoolhouse, fun with math adventures.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, kind of. So following that route, you then gain access to the Citadel, and then we didn't even mention that on the overworld here, there are like these turrets that shoot you. Um, this this section is like broken because there are supposed to be little stealth prompts that you can
Yeah,
push
for shade.
to, yeah, to sneak
Oh.
past them. But you have to be in like pixel perfect, precisely the right spot that they expect you to be to activate the stealth prompt, or the cannon will just fire at you. I cannot get it to work very well, so I usually just run past them. They're not really that bad, and as soon as you
Yeah,
go
they're
in
not
a
even that hard to
building,
dodge.
yeah, as soon as you go in a building, they just disappear.
So
So.
that's funny because I was actually wondering why occasionally I'd get into a fight and realize I wasn't full on health.
Oh, you didn't even notice,
Oh.
yeah.
No, I didn't realize I was getting shot. And also, interestingly, well, not even interestingly, I wouldn't have even been able to do those stealth prompts because I don't think I had shade.
Oh yeah, you can also do it with Rouge, but Rouge is useless, so I don't expect
Yeah,
you to have
I
Rouge.
didn't bring Rouge either.
Yeah, that makes sense. No wonder you didn't realize that
Okay.
was there.
So-
So when you go into the Citadel, then there are more of those cannons and a bunch of guards. You have to sneak through a little area. Then you walk up to the Chaos Emerald that's there, and you're like, haha, very nice Chaos Emerald. Then Cyrax teleports in front of you and is like, ha, nope, nice try. You're under arrest. And then he brings you to like, I guess the throne room, but there's no throne. I don't know. It seems to be like Raxos's chamber or whatever. And that's when you confront him. That's when the two paths converge.
Yeah, the boxing ring.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one way you can do this section. But the other way, as you mentioned, Devin, is you can apply for citizenship. You have to talk to a random NPC. There's like a shopkeeper who doesn't sell anything because he's for the pirate side quest I mentioned later. But you can talk to him now and learn that you're supposed to apply for citizenship, or can. And so then you can instead go to the guard in the front of the Citadel or whatever, and then be like, I want to apply for citizenship. And then they're like, okay, sure. Well, okay, actually, you confused me. You actually are trying to apply for, you're trying to issue an official challenge. That's what you're trying to do. Because basically they work, if you beat the big boss, you win. You're the new big boss. That's how Ix originally took over this place. He just beat Raxos. So you want to issue a challenge, but the problem is you have to be a citizen in order to issue a challenge. So you have to apply to citizenship first.
Yeah.
And that's when you go inside, and then the Zoa is just like, okay, a gentleman will be with you shortly in order to help you apply for citizenship. And the gentleman is
literally
just
what he's called.
That is what he's called, yeah. It's great. That's the name of the enemy, because he's actually just an enemy that tries to beat you up. But it's actually an exclusive enemy that you would completely miss if you do the other route. So again, surprisingly a high effort here. It's a beefier one that doesn't use lightning shield and just kind of punches you. But yeah, you beat him up, and then you beat up the original guards, who I probably didn't expect you to win against the gentleman. And then you earn citizenship, and then Raxos comes up for you and is like, well done, you're a citizen, so you want to challenge me? Okay, great. But in order to be worthy, you have to fight Cyrax first, and that's when the paths
three
converge.
more guys.
Yeah. So yeah, there's two completely different ways to get there, which I appreciate immensely. I don't know why they did that just for this one part, but it's great.
So yeah, lots of combat in a row either way.
Yeah.
I can't believe that there's an entire part of that area that I missed though.
That is wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, no matter what you do, unless you reload like me, you can't get it all in one playthrough though. That's true. But yeah, so the first boss here is Cyrax, who is really funny. He is so over the top. He's just a cartoon villain. Whichever route you take, his opening dialogue is hilarious. In the normal route, he says, "Take another step. I want an excuse to hurt you." And then in the optional route, when Cyrax is like, or Raxos is like, you have to fight Cyrax, then Cyrax comes up and says, I will enjoy taking you apart.
Yeah.
Also, he explains at one point that his official title in the military is High Dictator of the 5th Rampager Legion.
I love that title.
Awesome.
It's over the top. It's great. I love it.
Ah,
But
so
yeah, in
what?
battle he's kind of just another Zoa. He's not really that
Yeah.
distinct.
Yeah. So how many fights are there total? Like 5?
Depends on the route you take. If you do the normal route, well, it's 3 fights you have to do, but there are a bunch of enemies wandering around too that you'll definitely run into and probably flee from. But 3
Okay.
required fights. In the citizenship route, it's 4 because it's a gentleman and it's the double and then it's the triple
Gentleman, 2
boss
brutes,
and
then
then
3 more
Rakdos
guys,
afterwards.
then the general himself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a ton of fights. All in a row, and they're not really all that distinct. Syrax, strangely, has less health than a normal Zoa brute. I don't know why. But he's a little stronger and he has like a self-buffing move as well. But most likely you'll just wail on him and take him out, and then it becomes a basic fight again because his 2 minions are just regular enemies. So,
Yeah.
yeah, not really that interesting of a boss battle.
And speaking of basic, once you finish that, it's like, all right, it's time to fight General Raxos, and that motherfucker is a coward because he's like, actually, there's 4 of you, so we should probably make this fair, and I only fight 1 of you.
Yeah, well, you have to like do the official challenge correctly, or it doesn't count or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're kind of right, but the whole point, I mean, the idea here is like you want to avoid like fighting an entire army, and so you can have this duel and or to settle it all now, basically. Yeah, you are basically correct, and I feel like in lore he could probably take at least a few of you. Well, I mean, they would win, but. I don't know. It's hard to say. Somehow Sonic does beat him.
Yeah, that's
I don't
the
know.
thing, is that it becomes a one-on-one fight, and there's no one-on-one fights can't really afford to be that hard in this game because there's only so many things you can do.
Yeah, exactly. This fight, this is the last solo Sonic fight in the game. Um,
Sort
and
of.
oh, okay, yeah, well, yeah. There's one like that's half counts. We'll get there, but basically, uh, and yeah, it's not really that bad normal playthrough, but it's one of those situations where if you don't quite have the right thing, then you might be in trouble. I mean, you just basically, if you're a dumb kid like me, I made a lot of dumb choices when I first played this. And you're just like, oh, the wind tornado is a really cool move. Yeah, I'll invest in that, and I don't need axe kick. I'll just buy like combo attacks. Then this fight walks over and says, oh, you only bought whirlwind? Great. Well, this boss resists whirlwind. Have fun. Yeah, if you don't have axe kick in this fight, it's going to be a little bit of a slog.
Yeah, it's a good thing I had axe kicks.
Yeah. I mean, you most likely will have it, and if you do, it's fine. It's easy because even though he has 600 health, he actually has really low armor, so he goes down pretty quickly. But yeah, in that one situation, you may be in a little bit of trouble. Also, not that this affects most people, but this is a super pain if you do any sort of challenge on yourself. Because you have such little options in this fight, as Devin alluded to, so it doesn't really lend itself well to challenge runs. This is always a roadblock if ever I do some weird challenge for myself when I'm playing this. But yeah, it's not a big deal. You 1v1 fight him and you win because you're Sonic.
And thankfully, General Raxos is convinced by our violence, so this basically puts another alien race on our side.
Nice.
Actually, so let me just say though, Devin, you were like, "Oh, he's a coward to fight one-on-one," but right after the fight, you're like, "Ha ha, you fall, big general," and he's like, "Silence! I hoped you could defeat me, because now I have a chance to escape Lord Ix's rule." Because he had to listen to him, but now there's someone else who beat him. Now he doesn't have to listen to him because he has to listen to Sonic now. So it was actually a ploy on Rakdos' part.
Yeah, I guess they are honest. They didn't lie to you.
Yeah, these are sort of the honorable warrior types.
It kind of gives Dracon almost with their trial.
Oh yeah, yeah, a little bit. You're right.
God, that would have been awesome if they were in this game as one of the Twilight Cage races.
That would have been wild.
Yeah, we talked about how Metropolis, so that's kind of for Fleetway, but no, I don't think they were actually for Fleetway. That would be really cool.
Anyway, so we've got their deal. We've got the Chaos Emerald. So now we can return to the Nergal colony and get our other Chaos Emerald from them.
Yeah, you kind of just go and immediately grab it because the queen is just waiting for you. They decided to just be nice, so you don't have to run through the whole place again. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
Although you do get a little bit of lore, a question mark here, because a bunch of just the regular drones swarm together and fuse into the queen, which is really strange. I was like, so the queen is actually just a fusion of their gull as well. I guess that means I can easily replace the queen, which actually that seems evolutionarily solid. All right, okay, interesting.
Sometimes the person in charge is just whoever is the biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Invader Zim rules. um,
But yeah, they're like, oh, okay, Ix pitted us against each other, giving us both Chaos Emeralds. Okay, yeah, we hate him now. Yeah, we'll join you when the time is right, but we need everyone on our side. So
Yep.
still one more place you gotta go.
But with that, Sector Scylla is clear. I keep wanting to say Scylla or Skyla or something. And yeah, it's our shortest episode of this playthrough so far. I think the game has sort of settled into
Wow,
a
yeah.
formula here.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Which is okay because it means that each part of it sort of has its own. Our coverage can also be kind of formulaic, which is at least dependable. It's reliable. You know,
Yeah,
we're not
but
hitting any unforeseen roadblocks.
yeah, I would say it's a comfortable flow. There's still at least a number of silly or interesting things to point out every time here. I don't think the game has gotten stale exactly. I think it stays interesting even if yeah, I mean there's an obvious flow. You go to the
Yeah.
planetoid, you get ambushed, you find the Chaos Emerald, you
It's
leave.
not. It's
The
it has
flow
not
isn't a bad
gotten.
thing.
It has not gotten more stale. You're correct. But yeah, that's actually where we're done for tonight. So next time on Deep Dive Zone, we are heading to Sector Carib and to the end of the game. We are actually finishing the game next time.
Mhm.
Holy crap.
And you know, it's been a long journey, and by long I mean 3 episodes up until now. Has this game felt longer than like 06 for you guys?
Honestly, not longer than 06, but it's already feeling a little long.
My opinion doesn't count because this game feels super short. Because I know it front ways, back ways, upside
Fair.
down, inside out.
Yeah. Well, because it's really hard to judge just because 06 took 7 episodes. I think that playtime
God.
wise, it's not that different. It might even be a little shorter. But obviously, the fact that we did 7 episodes made it take way longer to finish. So
Yeah.
I don't know. And obviously, as someone who binged this game just to get done with it, I've already recorded Sonic Rush Adventure. So,
Oh wow.
but none of that matters. What does matter is that that's where we're done for tonight. So thank you to my 2 co-hosts for being here, and thank you to the viewers for watching. If you like this episode, please feel free to share, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, suggestions, or feedback, you can reach us at any of the links in the link tree in the description. So we will see you next week for another exciting episode. I hope that the rest of this week goes good for you. I hope you have a great rest of your night, and take care.